and welcome to Crush Your Mountain Personal Growth. You know, people with extremely good muscular stature often attract attention wherever they go, but especially so when it comes to someone like the man you're about to meet today. After winning several awards for his physique and competing on the pro level, this man suffered a devastating heart attack, a devastating health issue, and had to go through triple bypass surgery. But now he's back and competing again. And he's going to compete, and this will be his fourth win, perhaps. And guess what? He's 71 years old. I am talking about no one else than the one and only, the Silver Fox himself, Mr. John Hobbs. Let's welcome him to Crush Your Mountain. John, it's great to see you.
Hey, what's going on?
Man,
I appreciate the interview. Thank you for checking with me.
Man, I'll tell you what, now we've known each other for a while, and you've been a tremendous inspiration on my end. I'll tell you, you know, when I was a kid, I was about 18, 19 years old, and I saw this guy, he was about 50 years old in the gym, and I said, when I get that age, I want to look like him. Now that I'm over 50, I see you and I say, when I get that guy's age, I want to look like him.
Actually, I hear that more than you would think, even from younger guys, and they go, they don't even know my age, and they'll say, I want to be like you. They can see my gray hair. I guess that's a giveaway, but
yeah,
I don't tell too many people what I'm getting ready for, but I'm getting so cut now. I'm within 7-8 pounds of my fighting weight, which is, puts me on stage at 195, and then I feed back. What you do is you add, you fill your muscle back up towards the end there the last few days, and you fill out after the body fat's been erased, so to speak.
Wow. Well, John, let me ask you this then. Tell us, when did you start your journey bodybuilding and then competing?
This is a crazy story. It was a few months in 2011, excuse me. And I had competed in Mr. Raleigh, not like a fluke, but back when I was working in the health clubs, but I was never really committed like that. But at 62, I said, you know what? I'm going to try the Gold's Classic in Wilmington. And so I had a few months notice, enough time, and I went into it, but ignorantly, I didn't know. You learn. I figured I'm going to learn as I go. So I had my body fat checked and did that, and I actually got second place there. Then I went to another contest and got first in Norfolk. I was kind of irritated about it. My ego was bruised a little bit, so I made it my challenge to beat the guy the next year. He won again the second time. Now, since then, and my statistics on body fat carry with it your statistic of the mass that you carry underneath that body fat. So, and the man that was grading me, he says, I can't find it. He works at Peace College he's a doctor, and he's done it the same thing every year all the way up to now. Chris is his name. And he said, John, you've gained 18.5 pounds of mass since 62 years old.
Wow.
So I've stuck in there. In the last few years, it seemed to have culminated and came around. In 2018, I won the over 60. And then last year, I won it at 70. And right behind that, that's when I had my heart surgery. And that put me out of kilter. So I've been making a comeback from all this time up to now. So
John, tell us about the trauma of your surgery and what happened there, because I know that was one of the dark times for you, and you know, we talked about that. And I'll tell you something. So many of us go through dark times, especially if we find that we have a number of successes, and it does a lot to us. Tell us what you went through and how you surfaced and crushed through.
Well, it was coming towards the contest, and
okay.
So, and all I could do was just go through the paces. I couldn't lift a lot of weight, so I just made sure I got in there and did movement and towards the end, because a few days after that, winning that contest, I was in the hospital. I have a bicuspid valve, which is a valve that opens up two ways. Normally it's a three-way valve, but one of the lines doesn't open if you look down into the circle. And then calcium builds over time. Wow. And so it was shut down. And my wife was coming into, wife-to-be was coming into town the next night. I put it there because I didn't want to focus on that and have this. And it's an emotional time. I'm at the bottom of the stairs getting ready to go on stage, and my best friend's there, and I'm kind of losing it. I'm depleted. You're totally washed out. And plus the emotions of my future wife coming into the country. So he gets me some tissues because I'm losing it a little bit. And then I come back around like I'm doing now. And went up on stage and did well. In fact, the second place man that I beat ended up getting third in the Masters Nationals in the 60s and over. And I would have been in the 70s. So I'm curious to see how that pans itself out. But I didn't know at the time that he was prepping for the Masters Nationals, and I had beat him. And then, so that was good. A lot of guys, I'm 6'3", which is kind of tall. Maybe I'm 6'2". I've lost a little bit. To be tall, Schwarzenegger dominated because he was tall and full. Normally, most of these guys that you see on stage, I don't care if it's Olympia or wherever, they're kind of like 5'4" to 5'8", but you wouldn't know that. They're just thick, you know. Yeah. So I've filled it out and got the symmetry and balance and everything, and just in the last 2 years, it seems to have come to fruition. It made it. And it just kind of was a slow, gradual progression. I hung in there since 2011. And then a few years later, I started filling out a little more. So now, when I cut down to no body fat at all, kind of, sort of, I'm right around 195. Then you refeed the glycogen in the muscle stores to fill the muscle back out. And believe it or not, you do use sodium and salt, which sounds crazy, but that fills the muscle from within, because you've already taken the water away. So then you fill the muscle out and inflate it, in a sense, to get your fullness back that you gave away, because you deplete 3 days just prior to that. So you kind of go all out to get rid of fluid and make sure that you're lean enough. And then you feed back within a few days, and then that makes you stage ready. You lean that out. So
now, do you remember the movie, I believe it was Pumping Iron? I think I saw that. And towards competition, they had the guys just before competition, they had depleted themselves of salt and water, and they were just leaning over, sick as it were, just before they go on stage, you know? And so
if you cut that out too much, you can get, I know a guy that was on stage, he came off, he was really mad at me the next year. I said, man, you really he was going down the hall going, oh, because he cramped up. They were up there extra long time. He goes, that wasn't me. I said, oh, it must have been your twin then, you know. I wasn't trying to be mean, but he's going like, you know, didn't want to admit it, you know, his manhood.
Yeah.
But you don't cut sodium. That's an old fallacy.
Yeah.
There's numerous ways people do it, but salt's okay, sodium's okay. You know, maybe during the depletion it might be a little different, but you go 3 days. Let's say the contest is Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You deplete carbohydrates almost zero.
Right.
That gets your body ready. Then you start filling in the next 3 days. The night before, you have you might have bison meat that's got fat in it. You might take in a hamburger from Wendy's with the cheese and the, you know, just whatever, fries, doesn't matter. And, you know, you fill your body back in like that. And then the next day, you might have a little bit more, but the sugars are okay. You know, you can have like a couple pieces of candy before you go on stage, and the sugar, you know, it just brings out the vascularity and the, you know, you're more full. And it's just a little more to it than that, but that's what it boils down to.
Well, John, we're going to wrap things up, but a couple things I'm going to do is I'm going to show some of your performances. And friends, I'll tell you something. You'll get a kick out of John's routine because this man can boogie down.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Silver Fox.
John, Rob bought you a Kickstart drink.
Don't stop, baby. Let me see you wiggle walk.
What type of diet do you use now, especially and how does your wife's culture fit into your diet?
So she makes lumpia, which is like a spring roll. But what they do, it's like rice. It's either rice or wheat. The wrapper is. So, and then she'll mince up by hand carrots, mushrooms, and some other things. And normally it's pork, but we switched it up to turkey. The Filipino culture, they honor their men and they love their men and they take care of them. She brings me my food, and I'm not saying you got to do that, but it's really nice. And she does my log for me, especially everything that I've eaten. To answer your question on what kind of a diet it's carbohydrate, protein oriented. In other words, the protein's got to stay, to me, 1.5 per pound of body weight.
John, you're 71 years old. You've had bypass surgery, and you're ready to compete again. What keeps you going?
When I look around and see a 70-year-old and they're in a wheelchair, or they got a leg brace, or they've got there's acts of God, but I was at the VA hospital and there was a big, large man. He was in a wheelchair bound. You could tell because his socks, and he had storage all over the thing. A more advanced kind of wheelchair. And my friend, I never forgot what he said. He said, you know what? People have a choice. Here he is, 70 pounds over. Could that make a difference in his joints and mobility? And yeah, there's exceptions to every rule, but I didn't want to be like that. I want people to go, man, that's pretty good, man. So, I like that. It's good for my ego, but I have to earn it.
Yeah.
And when you're older, you got to be more patient. You can't handle the weight that the other guys handle, because that kind of messes with you a little bit if you let it. So you take your ego, set it on the shelf. All that matters when I get done is my arm here? Is it looking good? Am I looking better than the next guy symmetrically? And you lose a lot between 60 and 70 dramatically. And I've tried to maintain that. And this show, should I win it, I'll become a pro.
John, it sounds like the very act of the sport itself is a motivating factor for you. The results.
Well, you gotta put yourself in a position. In my particular case, I better do it right, because I'm in a little bikini in front of 1,000 people. I better do something right. I better be looking.
Yeah.
I'm not going to embarrass myself. And then my responsibility to myself is to make it kind of at the nighttime show, it's a show. It's more than the preliminaries. So I kind of jam on them a little bit, but the people love it. And I kind of, let not many people do what I do. If you see from that video, you saw that. But it's fun and people expect it. In fact, this time I hired a Schwarzenegger impersonator. I got online, I said, what would be better than that? And a guy, he emails me back and says, this is funny. He's got a studio. He does famous people when they can't make it to the recordings. And so it starts off, ladies and gentlemen, I have for you the silver fox. Give it up for him. I'd like to stay, but I have to go to my chopper. So, and then the helicopter kicks in. And then I start nobody's done that. In fact, it's for the first time. I don't usually give away my play, but, and then halfway through he goes, show them what you got, John. And then I come in with in the club with 50 cents, which is, I'm at 70 and over. So I'm figured that might be in the 90, the kind of beat.
See, that's the thing. It blows people away, okay? It blows people away that you are doing that. You're keeping things fresh. John, I want to thank you so much for taking this time. It's amazing. All the medals behind John, all the trophies are his. And I don't know if you're an expert swordsman, but I'd probably be scared to see you with a sword in your hand because you look like
Hey, those swords back there.
Yeah.
They're like medieval. They're like 40 pounds.
Really?
They're like they've been forged or something. It's like, I'm going, what the hell? And so I think I got a few of them one night, and I'm having to move these things around. I had a ride to get to the show, so I'm carrying these things. So, but once you get them on the wall, then you kind of feel good about it,
Yeah.
And,
okay. Well, listen, I want to tell you that I'm going to thank you again, John. And hopefully we'll get a chance to see you down in Orlando. Now, what's the name of the venue that you're going to be held at?
God, you would ask me that.
Well, we're going to find out.
I want to say Regency Hyatt. I could be wrong, but Regency Hyatt in Orlando.
Okay.
And it's going to be wild,
Yeah. Well, listen, we're going to thank you. We're going to wrap it up there now. I'm going to tell you what. Thank you again for your time, John. John, you're an amazing person, and I wish you the best and the greatest success. Keep on crushing it, John. And look, we'll see you on the other side of the win.
By the way, if you want to go online, John Hobbs Bodybuilding Posing, I'm on YouTube. And if you want to have a little fun and just laugh your tail off, because everything I do everyone is different. Music's different, a different suit. I even wear a different suit from morning to afternoon. And my suit for this contest will be pink on the prejudge, neon, and it will be yellow neon for the night show. So that's kind of wild. So
okay, we'll look forward to it. Okay, all right, my friend. Talk to you soon.